according to Stock Picker and ARK Invest CEO, Kathy, what technology companies are cutting jobs as they harness the new AI tools and other technologies to increase productivity and provide new products and services. Wood stated that these layoffs should not be viewed as a sign of technology sector being in disarray, but instead as a correction from overhiring during the height of the pandemic. More than 300 technology firms, including Amazon, Apple, Zoom, Dell, and IBM, have seen layoffs in 2023, nearly 100,000 job cuts since the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year was just 6 weeks ago. 5 weeks ago. It's not like the beginning of the year. Yeah. According to Wood, AI is playing a role in the layoffs, as it provides new avenues for amplifying productivity. Wood even predicted that by 2030, Amazon will have more robotic employees than humans. So, Vinny, our AI expert, what do you think is causing... Please, because you're right. So tell us what AI is doing.
Was I right?
Yes.
I mean, AI. Just think about it, because so who was talking about it yesterday? I think it was on Joe Rogan's podcast, that the new update, the part 4 of the ChatGPT, is coming out. The way that they were talking with Lex Friedman, it's scary that in the next 10, 15 years, they're literally going to take over. And so it's going to ruin society, because everybody's going to be unemployed. People are going to have the jobs. And then, Pat,
I don't know about that.
I'm just... That's what that. Well, think about it, Pat. I think it has to do with a lot of it. If right now you have somebody writing a story that I could easily just type in ChatGPT and then just tweak it a little bit, why do we need that human being doing it? You know what I mean?
So you're right. I think the thing to put there is the reaction. So, for example, we can come up with content here. Mm-hmm. We can get ChatGPT to give us a script on what to put up there for, what do you call it? How to respond to this. If somebody says this, how do you respond to that? And how do you respond to that? Okay, great. You can put that on there. There's no problems with that. We are enamored by human beings who independently can do things that others cannot do. We're enamored by that. Hollywood acting, if you can act a role and get me to believe in the movie Fences, when you watch Denzel, you don't love me, I don't love you. Yeah. You have the other. You see that, but you've seen 5 other people do that part. That was done years ago by the famous legendary actor who passed away. You're like, oh my, what a great. You see Leo when he does the bear on top of him before the 19-year-old girl. This bear was on top of that one movie. What is the movie's name?
Covenant.
What is the name of the movie with the bear? You know what I'm talking about?
With what's his name? Tom Hardy.
When he lives in the horse.
He cut the real horse.
Sick. What he does.
Covenant. What's the name of it?
He won the Oscar
Revenant.
for Revenant.
Covenant.
Yeah.
By the way, you hear Tony Robbins speak, and he's like moving an audience, and he's or you hear
Antonio Robbins.
No, not Antonio Robbins.
Listen, forgive me for that's a whole different story.
I don't want that right now.
By the way, you watch Steve Harvey tell a story. Have you seen Steve Harvey tell a story?
He's freaking moving.
I gotta tell you, Steve Harvey is maybe one of the top 10 best storytellers in the world today.
Yep.
When he tells a story, you could find yourself 7 minutes later saying, "What the hell did I do just the last 7 minutes?"
Yeah.
So ChatGPT cannot do that because you don't see the emotion behind the machine. We are not turned on by machines. Have you ever physically been turned on by a machine and say, man, I'm emotionally attached to this? This doesn't mean there's an entire billion-dollar industry with toys.
I was just going to say, Rob showed me a video once. Rob showed me a video, and I was like, are they on sale?
Yeah, and Tom knows the economy's taking a pounding these days. So
exactly look, right. the fear with technology has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And the one thing with us, as we age, Vinny,
and
we start worrying about end of the world, and you start talking about these kids are lazy and they don't know. When you start making comments like that, that's the first sign of you getting old.
I'm getting old, 100%. But here's my thing, though, Pat. I'm talking about 20 years from now. Because, mind you, we're not in the beginning stages. This thing is getting smarter, smarter.
Yeah.
Pat, the robot, I saw in China, they have I saw a fleet of these Chinese robots. And I went to a restaurant with Kelly a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. They had like 1 or 2 servers. We ordered the food. A robot came out with everything, gave us our food, gave me my drink, and I was like, can I get a refill? Yes. The thing left, brought me
Was this robot hot?
I'm going to tell you something right now.
What was her name? Did you get her number?
I don't know. I don't know the name of it, but bro, I looked at Kelly, and Kelly's eating. She's not even paying attention. She's like, I told you there's
What was
fucking
the
robots here.
restaurant?
It was like a Korean, one of the Korean hot pot
Of
buffet.
course, Korean.
I mean, they're advanced, bro.
It's just-
But Pat,
it's a little cart. You know Roomba that runs around your
I have
house
one.
and
I have
that-
one. I have a
little
relationship with
vacuum?
her. I'm single, but I
Picture a Roomba that kind of has a little radar in it, so it doesn't run into furniture. It just kind of goes
Yeah.
around with a big post on it and a platter on top, and they put your food on it.
No, but Tom, when it dropped off my food, it kind of looked back to me and it went like it made like a noise. That robot was into me.
Well,
All right?
I think Pat is basically
So
saying
it winked when you get a Diet Coke refill.
Yeah,
I think Pat is saying that certain elements of humanity cannot be replaced. So, for instance,
I agree.
We went to lunch a few weeks ago at a restaurant called Hooters.
Yeah.
Shout out to our friends at Hooters.
Hi, girls.
I don't think there's ever going to come a time that AI and robots are going to make it called Rooters. Okay, like the robots aren't taking over Hooters.
Are you sure? Hold
I'm
on.
pretty positive.
Do you remember
of
your
that.
Yahoo Google situation?
I was
I'm
wrong
telling you right
on
now,
that.
you're gonna be an old man. You're gonna go, I remember the podcast. I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna happen soon, but I'm saying it's happening because I think some of these jobs are going.
Do you think so? Okay, so let's play
ahead.
this because I think there is fetishes. Like when you're in the army, you learn about a lot of weird things with people with
Okay.
fetishes because when you're doing late night guard duty,
Of course,
Yeah.
I've done that before. Trust me.
you're like, oh, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Hey, man, dog, it's my fetish. Can
man.
we keep this between? I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
at least, dude. Anyways, I'm not going to get into
Yeah.
specifics.
Yeah.
But classy.
But here's a part. Fetishes, fine. But I want to ask you this question.
ahead.
Let's say 30 years from now.
Okay.
You're 69 years old, 30 years from now. However, you're going
I'll be 70.
You're going to be 70.
70 years
okay,
old.
30 years from now, you're going to be 70. Okay. You're at a restaurant.
Relax, Alan.
75.
Fuck 74. Like we're doing like particulars.
Yeah.
Not Tom. Don't run the numbers.
You go to a restaurant 70 years from now. You go 30 years from now, you go to a restaurant, okay? And at this point, this restaurant is known for having the hottest robots in the world.
Okay.
By the way, technology is so advanced that they are 100% scored in a way where what men think is beautiful, they look just like that. Their skin feels like regular skin. They have every feature
Yeah.
a woman has.
Yes.
She comes and serves you food, okay? You flirt with her.
Yeah. I know I am. I'm
you,
old.
Would you hook up with a robot?
100%. 100. I'm not gonna get a virus. I'm not gonna. Get
But they're going to have a feature, though.
What?
If they don't like you, that robot can cut it as well.
If she doesn't like
Bob it.
Oh.
It's going to be like, oh, boom. One time you go and boom.
that at that age, that thing isn't even gonna be working.
Well, no, with the way technology is
Yeah,
going, your
forget
thing's
it.
going to
I'm
be
gonna
working when you're dead.
Well, with the
So-
reverse aging pill, I might be. But listen, in 30 years, can you even imagine how hot? Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Are you gonna care? Like, would you hook up with a robot?
I 100%. Pat, with some of the videos that I've seen, yeah, 100%.
Vinny, you would hook up with a robot.
Yes, I would. In 30 years from now, in 30 years, I'm telling you guys, your Yahoo, Google, you're going to change your tune.
Yeah.
Wait
I don't
till you
know.
see in 30
Vinny,
years what these robots are going to look
Listen,
like.
consider me old school. I just
Yeah.
kind of like hooking up with regular human women.
You're saying that. You're saying that in 2020.
I'm old school like that.
You're saying in 2023. In 2060, trust me, your tune is going to change, bro.
So
What?
that's it. You're leading the robot brigade of marketing to start banging robots.
I'm gonna be. I'm not saying bang robots. I'm saying I'm gonna be an old man by then. But what I'm telling you is the technology is gonna be ridiculous because they're gonna look spectacular. I saw one. I was doing something on the podcast which was gonna be funny. I saw one of those ones that just sits on your couch. It looked ridiculous. It wasn't like robotic. Just wait 30 years. You see what's gonna happen. I see your face. You're like, wait, what's? You'll see.
Goodness.
I'll show you one. Have you seen that one where half her head's missing and she's like,
here's what we
How did
learned.
we get here? We were talking about.
I'd love to get a poll
He
going
asked
on.
the question. He asked the question. He says, "How much of this is AI?" I said, "Here's what Kathy Wood said about it." Then I said, "Here's our AI expert, Vinny." And then he went talking about robot porn. And then boom,
Now we're here.
Later that same
Can I
day.
make one point about our friend? Bring it back to the point.
Yeah.
I think we tend to forget we just went through a worldwide pandemic for 2 years where it was like what goes up must come down, money printing, inflation, insanity, lockdown, supply chain. This was the global economy stopped for a full-on year, especially depending on where you were in the world, and things are kind of restarting again. And Kathy said everyone thinks the technology sector is in disarray. But here it is. Instead, this is just a correction from overhiring during the height of the pandemic. Kathy Wood, I never heard her name prior to 2000. She was one of the darling investors of COVID. Okay, I'm going to ask you, Vinny. Does the name Eric Yuan ring a bell?
Zoom?
No.
Okay, he's the CEO, founder of Zoom.
Oh.
He went from a relatively unknown man to arguably the most needed, famous man in the world at one point, because he's the founder of Zoom. Now Zoom, it's like Zoom a little bit.
FaceTime.
We're back in human interaction now, right? What does Lincoln say? Circulate amongst the troops, touch.
Yeah.
So I think we're going this correction I'm talking about is that we've gone from like completely relying on technology for 2 years to like, all right, let's just get back to normal. And essentially, a lot of these layoffs are because of that.
Tom, what do you think about this whole conversation about relationships with robots? I want to ask it in a most serious way possible. Your dad was a rocket scientist. You're a guy that went through IBM's training. You're a guy that was a professor at Biola, adjunct professor at Pepperdine. You've been all over the place. You've been in technology. You've been in IT. You've been studying, following this industry for a while, so you know the good, bad, and the ugly. Do you think it'll come to a point where people will be dating robots and they're going to be replacing relationships, all that stuff?
Well, I have two very distinct thoughts on this. The first is don't worry about the robots. It's just jobs are going to be different, and people are going to do different jobs. It's like when the saddle tanner, a tanner is a guy that works with leather, and when the saddle tanner saw the first car, he's like, oh man, my saddle business is screwed if this catches on, right? Because he's making saddles for horses and all that kind of stuff. And these waves go through the economy, and technology and advancement happen. The jobs are different. Point one. Point two, if you go look back at the dawn of the last like 5 technology cycles, the internet, DVDs, by the way, you know what drove drove multi-perspective DVDs? Remember, you could watch a movie and change the perspective on it? Porn. And CES, Consumer Electronics Show, tried to keep it off to the side. Porn took full advantage of VHS. They took full advantage of DVD. Porn, talk about the internet and what happened there. There's always been an element where people use technology to fulfill vices. So I think that's going to happen with robots. And I think it's bad for relationships. I think it's bad for the human relationship, but we've seen it happen before with technology.
And Pat, think about this. We're kind of joking around. I'm joking about it, but
I'm a
freaking comedian. But what I'm saying is, Pat, think about this. It's people like us. Obviously, we wouldn't. You guys, girlfriends, married, whatever. I'm not talking about the average guy that just watches porn on their phone and we're not paying for it. It's the guy that like they get the subscription, they're watching it, they're alone. Trust me, those guys, you give them the opportunity of a robot that's in the house that they can hook up with. And dude, what was that movie, Joaquin Phoenix? You guys, it was just her. It was Scarlett Johansson was just a robot in his ear, and he had a relationship, bro. Wait till that becomes
the darkest, most annoying movie I've
watched. Pat, but look at how it was horrible. It was just
one of the
him.
top 10 worst movies I've seen, and I love Joaquin Phoenix.
He's one of my favorites. But Pat, think about how cheap that movie was to make. Just her voice in his head. That's it. Walking around in the office, he was they made like Hallmark cards.
We should make a version of that from like a low budget, and we should call it
him.
Him.
Too different. It's just like, don't do it.
And it's you.
Yeah. Oh my God.
In a room.
That's so freaking.
Hey Johnny.
Yeah. Hey. What? I can't. I'm trying to have a relationship with my ex.
I don't know. By the way, the more I think about it, here's what you're making me think about. So, okay. So porn was what? VHS.
Yes.
I'm trying to buy the original movie cover sealed of Rocky 1 and all in this one auction and Godfather. But the first was VHS, okay? Then from VHS it was DVD, right?
Yeah.
And then from DVD,
Blu-ray.
So porn VHS, in the Army barracks, this guy had like 1,000 porn VHSs on top of each other. And he said, this one's the best one, this one's this. So then you go DVD. Then you're saving files on a computer.
Yes.
Then it went to Napster. Then it's Phone Easy. What is the main site? It's called whatever the new porn sites are. There's a couple big ones. And then from there, you're going to go virtual reality. What is after virtual realities? They're doing that. So maybe the next phase after virtual reality is going to be where some guy's going to have a robot. I'm going to take a lunch break. He goes on his lunch break. Why is your truck going up and down? It's like, well, it's
it's her. It's her.
My V2 2200. It's a 2029 model I just bought for 17 grand. Like, what are you doing, buddy?
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.